This world is just so upside down sometimes with the administration we have. Left is right, right is left, up is down. You get to the point where you don't know what's right anymore. I mean, I could probably be convinced to be a pro-meat vegan, in this day and age, which seems absurd that a vegan talk show host might even consider supporting the concept of meat at all. And yet, Nicole Matthews, you're a vegan too. In fact, you're the campaign coordinator for the Kentucky Fried Cruelty campaign for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, for PETA. And tell me, have we lost our minds? We're two vegans who may be for meat? What's going on with us?
Oh, yeah, it's a hot topic these days, in vitro meat. And it's something that PETA is offering a $1 million reward for the first scientist who can create and bring to market a commercially successful chicken flesh that can be grown in a laboratory.
Wow. Now, this story broke in the New York Times earlier this week. Now, I don't know, are people going to want to eat that? Because if you're saying in vitro meat, why, people will think that that's meat grown in a test tube.
That's for sure. Some of us don't need to eat meat. We've discovered that you can kick the meat habit and feel better about yourself inside and out. But considering that meat eaters are routinely consuming animal flesh that's contaminated with feces, drugs, bacteria, we imagine that once they get used to the idea, like switching from dissecting a frog to using a sophisticated computer model, they'll be more than happy to eat meat produced in a laboratory.
Well, if they really knew how the meat production happens now, I think they'd be happy to go to lab-grown meat. So how is it that PETA and you and I could be for meat? I mean, what thinking went into this reward that you're offering now? And we have many brilliant scientists listening to this program here. It's $1 million to develop a chicken flesh. And how did we come to offer this?
Well, it makes perfect sense when PETA's goal is to stop slaughter and to stop the cruelties of factory farming. We tell everyone the truth that eating meat is bad for human health. It's catastrophic for the environment, and it's definitely a living hell for animals. But PETA is a pragmatic organization, and we don't expect the whole world to go vegan overnight. So
leave that to me.
We could provide a way to eat ethically while still getting that meat fix.
Sure. Well, so basically what we're doing is we're removing the cruelty from meat. It's going to be grown from what would it be, a cell culture? Or what's the idea behind it? Or do we leave that to the scientists? What would lab-grown meat be? And didn't I hear about lab-grown meat being developed maybe in the Netherlands at a university there a while back?
That's right. There are scientists quietly researching how to produce in vitro meat in laboratories around the world. Like you're saying, the best way to help is to go vegan. But there are people addicted from childhood to the cholesterol and saturated fat in flesh. So we're just rooting for science to provide an eco-friendly methadone for their heroin. So we can spare animals the abuses they suffer in today's factory farms and slaughterhouse.
Well, it is the worst addiction when you come down to it. I mean, if somebody thinks about eating meat and thinking, this will probably kill me, I mean, it's heart disease, it's cancer, and if one considers all the animal suffering, I mean, every plate of meat is a plate of violence. Someone being beheaded, we bemoan beheadings and just I don't even want to think about what happens to, see, I don't want to think about it. People don't want to think about it, but if they do consider it, they should remove themselves from the cruelty.
That's right, and that's why we're asking for chicken flesh in particular. Chickens are the most abused animals in the meat industry. As I'm sure you're aware, Bob, these gentle birds are crammed into filthy sheds by the tens of thousands. They're pumped full of drugs, so they grow so quickly and cripple under their own weight. They live in chronic pain. Often their legs and wings are broken when they're crammed into the transport crates. And at the slaughterhouse, millions of them are scalded to death in defeathering tanks that are meant to remove their feathers when they're already dead. And, we want that to end. So we're raising the stakes, so to speak.
Yeah.
$1 million to the scientists who can help us put an end to raising animals like this for food.
I'm almost willing to add on $25 from Go Vegan Radio to really make it attractive. So we're talking to Nicole Matthews, and people who listen to the show know what $25 means to the show. We're talking to Nicole Matthews. She's the campaign coordinator for the Kentucky Fried Cruelty campaign for PETA. And why Kentucky Fried Chicken in particular? What's the cruelty associated with Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Oh, well, KFC, everyone knows, is one of the largest fast food chains we have. So since they buy the most chickens in North America, we're asking them to eliminate the very worst abuses that their suppliers inflict on these birds, things like slitting birds' throats while they're fully conscious, and as I mentioned earlier, scalding millions to death in the tanks that are meant to remove their feathers. So we're asking people to boycott KFC until they agree to adopt the advice of their own meat industry advisors.
Okay, well, no problem getting me to boycott KFC. No problem on that. And I just recently I dog sat, cat sat, and chicken sat for people who were out of town for a while, and really had my first opportunity to spend time with a chicken. And she's a beautiful bird. I mean, with her feathers and all, she's really incredibly beautiful, but she also follows me around wherever I go, and if I don't see her in the yard, I call her and she comes to me. And the other day, we all, 4 species of us, sat down to the same meal and all enjoyed it. But I found no difference between a chicken and a dog in my experience just now. She came up on the chair with me and wanted to be petted, and so I think if people just were aware or had a relationship or knew that the animal is living, a feeling, wonderful being, they might not be eating so much chicken.
I agree. The chickens are very social, and they do like to spend their days together, scratching for food, cleaning themselves in dust baths, lying in the sun, roosting in trees, and those things are denied to them. Everything that is natural is denied to them in factory farms.
Mm-hmm. So we have maybe another minute or so left, Nicole. So anything we didn't get to about the campaign or your big reward, the $1 million reward to develop the lab-grown meat?
Well, I think it's important for people to consider, not only is this causing hideous animal abuse, the meat industry, but it takes up to 16 pounds of grain to produce 1 pound of meat. And because of this waste, the meat industry has been cited by the United Nations as a leading cause of virtually every major environmental problem, including global warming. So eating animal flesh is awful for human health. It's terrible for the environment. And, of course, a vegan diet is the best way to withdraw your support of these things. People can order a free vegetarian starter kit by calling 1-888-VEG-FOOD or visiting our website, goveg.com. The kit is full of delicious recipes that can help anyone kick the meat addiction.
And also, Nicole, there are so many restaurants around now that, vegan restaurants that do have chicken alternatives. I would suggest that people try them. They're made out of soy or gluten or mushrooms or nuts, grains, whatever. The alternatives are all there and very enjoyable, so we don't necessarily have to wait for the lab scientists. They're there now. There's chicken-free chicken in the store. Veggie USA has some really good vegan chicken alternatives, so we don't have to wait for the laboratory experiments to bring it to us. We have them today.
That's right on. Of course, we do have those fantastic alternatives to meat, as well as, great stuff that you can find in the grocery store every day from some really top-notch companies. My personal favorite are the riblets that you can get, the faux riblets with barbecue sauce. They're very, very tasty.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Nicole Matthews from PETA, the coordinator for the campaign, the Kentucky Fried Cruelty campaign. And no, Colonel Sanders does not belong on a postage stamp either, right?
No, that's right.
Thanks for being with us today.
Please make donations to this show to help make it a better world. Click donate at goveganradio.com.